Elephant Man Podcast Network, grown man conversations dealing with elephants in the room. It's your man DB. What's going on? Like, subscribe, share. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you can know when we have a new show. Today, we have my brother, Mr. Ken Patrick. We call him Mr. Big Thursday, mentor, coach, grant writer. Hey, the grant writing game is off the hook. What's going on, man?
Man, I'm good, brother. How you feeling?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Okay, man. So if you want to get in contact with him, you go to MrBigThirsty.com. That's one of them. Look at this. That's at the bottom of the screen, MrBigThirsty.com. But the first thing I want to do before I get to these questions, because these are some hot seat questions, is that Force for Good community development. You was telling me a little bit something about that. Could you just share some of that with me?
Yeah, man. Well, a long time ago, man, it was just in my heart to help people in my community raise money. I've spent a lot of money learning how to raise money, and through a lot of trial and error, and God has blessed me to kind of be out. I guess some people would say relatively successful at it. But I was one of those folks that was just on the block at my house. I had about 15 kids from the block in my house, man, and doing a lot of good work. And this guy named Dave Jackson came along, found out about it, gave me $15,000, just like simple as that. And I remember saying, like, God, I want to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? That guy that finds out about just regular people who are a force for good in their community, in the city. And I wanted to find them and I wanted to fund them, right? And so it takes a lot of work to raise money. You got to have a lot of administrative skills and things of that nature. I built a team around myself that I think now we are actually prepared to launch and start to doing some of those things. It's some much bigger, loftier things that we want to do as well. But the real heart of Force for Good came from, there are all these people who are doing good in the city of Gary, and a lot of people who want to fund that work. And so we want to be the vehicle by which the two can meet, and we can make sure that good people are connected to people who want to give good, and just be a force for good and do good in Gary.
Man, that's amazing. And you know what? Y'all, I could vouch for that, because I want to say 2014 or 15 or something. My man's right here. He blessed our little team. We had a basketball team, and he helped us get that going on. And the parents and everybody was excited. They had bags, they had socks, they had uniforms with the names on it. You know, it was crazy, man. So thank you for that. And that Force for Good, I think, is gonna really bless a lot of people. And that's a good being able to connect the two, the ones who are out here doing it but don't have the funds, and somebody who pockets is pretty deep, but they want to be able to bless, but they don't want to put that sweat equity in. Bam, collide them together and do some good things out here in Gary and the surrounding area, man. And so another thing too I want to talk about before we get to these questions is the short film. You guys are working on the short film.
Yeah, man. You know what? It's funny. Like my real love, the thing that I get a lot of joy out of, outside of my community work or whatever, but just kind of like that personal kin thing that you like to do. Like, you garden, man, and I see your garden is on point. You know what I mean? Every time I see it, it's kind of hating a little bit, man. I'm trying to grow some tomatoes in some buckets. Man, I don't know if it's working. Whatever. You out there got almost a greenhouse. You know what I'm saying? But so my, secret little passion, man, is actually videography. And I always wanted to shoot a movie. And so, but I always wanted to tell biblical stories, but just in a way, in an up-to-date way that actually, really kind of portrays what's actually happening, in that text in the Bible, whatever. So I was on vacation, man, and that story of the prodigal son was just on me. I ain't had nothing else to do, so I ended up writing a movie, and I was like, time to shoot it. So I got everything that I need now, and we just got a grant for $5,000. We're gonna buy some more film equipment, and me and some young folks, man, we're gonna get out there and try to shoot this movie, and it'll be my first or whatever. So we praying that it goes well, man.
Wow, that's some big things right there, man. That's some big things. Yes, sir. So you still got the summer program going on this year too, right?
Yeah, man, it's a little bit. I mean, and you've worked for it, every year with this one, I guess. So you know how it normally is, a massive program with a whole lot of kids, man. So it's a little interesting, but yeah, we definitely have it going on. We got about 50 or 60 kids. It's a half day summer program, and then it's going pretty good, man. It's going pretty good. Just trying to maintain that social distancing and keep kids safe and healthy.
Wow, that's one thing that I was thinking about too. How does that social distancing play a part in the gym and different areas like that? But we got some things in place, then it definitely can be done. But yeah, we've been doing this since for a while, and I remember it's amazing, y'all. 12 guys, I want to say 12, yeah, 12 guys in the room, man.
Real young men.
And 12 young men, and they growing up now. And my oldest one, he was in there. He's going to go into 10th grade now. But now it's from the last couple of years. If COVID wouldn't hit, it probably would have been, come on, 300 kids. You know what I'm saying? Programs and STEM and STEAM and all kind of stuff going on, man. It's powerful. Being able to hire people, man, it just blew up, man. And I seen the progress of it. So I'm gonna say congratulations, my hat off to you. I'm proud of you. You're doing the powerful work, bro, for real. Like I'm like, that's what it is, man. And then,
day one, brother, man. So I just want to say shout out to you, man. I appreciate you. A lot of this stuff, man, that you even giving me love for, man, you helped build it. So, man, I just want to say, man, I appreciate you more than I can ever even express to you, man. So thank you so much.
I appreciate that, bro. Yeah. Tell me about that Liquid Courage. That's coming, Liquid Courage.
Yeah, man, it's coming down the pike, man. The goal is to get it jumped off in August, man. But you know, it's a lot of controversial stuff that happens in the world. You know what I'm saying? In everyday life, on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Just as we live this life, there's a lot of things, man. People got a lot of opinions about it. Unfortunately, we live in a time now where, like, if me and you disagree, we can't just disagree agreeably. You know what I'm saying? We gotta fight. We gotta diss each other on Facebook. I gotta call you some names and block you. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, you know, that man got his own opinion. I got my own opinion. We could talk it out. And either we sway each other, one sways the other, or we stay where we at, but we walk away and we can still go get a hamburger. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have to be disrespectful to one another because we don't see things the same way. And so Liquid Courage is really about having the courage to have hard conversations, but still walk away as friends or still walk away as individuals who looking forward to the next time we get to chop this up. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's about, man, to dive in deep, but to come out, you know, loving each other. You know what I'm saying? At the end of it. And just to show the world that it can happen.
Yeah. So, man, we'll go into some questions right here. This is a pretty interesting question. The first one, my question is this. Marches, protests. We knew what happened with George Floyd. Many things happened before that. Rashard after that. And stuff is still going on that's not even being taped. I mean, it's crazy. You know, they start setting up a little autonomous zone in Seattle and defunding the police in New York, $1 billion. I found out yesterday, $1 billion, and then 300 and some million of that was for their overtime. So their morale is down. They're angry. Protests, marches. In your opinion, do they work? What's the pros and cons to a protest, a march? You know, so is it old school? Is it outdated? Is it good?
I don't think it's outdated. I think that our the way it's being currently done, the protesting, the marching, I don't think necessarily looks like what it used to look like. Meaning, I think that there was more strategy behind the protests and the march. You know, back in the day, it's a little more strategy. It wasn't about stopping traffic. Like, I'm not necessarily a fan of walking into the middle of the highway, you know what I'm saying, and things of that nature. So should they happen? I'm gonna say, yeah, they should probably continue to happen, you know what I'm saying, because at least if nothing else is drawing enough attention for you to really talk about what the real issue is, you know what I'm saying. Now, I was kind of anti, like, and I'm still, like, I don't recommend nobody go loot, especially if it's your community. I don't recommend breaking into buildings, burning down buildings and things of that nature. But the dilemma I have is I'm looking at things like what you just said, the defunding of the police. Although I don't like that word, I understand what it means, but I think the language is misleading. They're not saying take all the money from the police state, you know, from police. They're saying really reallocate some funds and make sure that they're adequately funded, but no more than that, which is the way I think cities should run anyway, right?
Yeah.
Appropriate funded. So, but with that being said, you're seeing a lot more. You're seeing people getting fired for their outright racist behavior. You're seeing more and more attention being brought to this, and companies and people actually taking action. I wonder if after the George Floyd situation, if folks hadn't been burning stuff down, would we be where we are? Would there be a conversation about defunding the police to the point where legislators are saying, yeah, we need to do that? I would argue that it probably wouldn't, because before that, all of the, it was cute. Somebody go out and march, they stop some traffic on the highway. It was a news story for a hot second, and then we was on to the next one. You know what I'm saying? So again, I can't sit here and say I would go tell somebody to do it, but at the same time, I wouldn't tell somebody not to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it works. I think it could be more effective, I guess, to answer your question, if there was some strategy behind it, meaning you march into where, and then when you get to that point, if you go into to City Hall, or if you go into whatever your state building is, where they making laws, and you're gonna stop there, and then you're gonna give some speeches, and you're gonna give a list of demands. We want you to, again, I don't like the language, we want you to defund the police. We want more training for police officers after they get out of the police academy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's the part that's missing. There's no list of demands, when back in the day, we were marching for these things to take place, or we were boycotting the bus. We're going to lock you down economically until you respond to our, you know what I'm saying? Until you respond to our list of demands. And so I just think that to some degree, it just lacks the strategy. That's all.
Yeah. And I think, the defunding, that's the first thing I thought of too, like it's taking away money and stuff. I'm like, wow. But I did get a better understanding of, I don't know why they use that word, but I did get a better understanding allocating the funds and putting it into other stuff like that. But as far as I think what's going on is it's emotional and reactionary. So if you saying don't be the law, call us when you get it, and then we call you, and then you smack us upside the head. I seen one. It was a dude. He was a liquor store owner, and he had the guy who broke in. He had him tied up or something. So he called the police, and he said, "Hey man, he's behind the counter." He turned his head, and he gets socked and slammed up, and they started grabbing him. He said, "No man, he's behind it. I'm not." You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of times it's reactionary, and so they feel as though it's no, like we say, no justice, no peace. But they always say they start breaking and burning and tearing stuff up. But it's like that's the language of the frustrated. But they understand that, because you like tearing up, even though it's in their neighborhood, your neighborhood. You're tearing up their stuff. So it's like, oh, what's going on? And I watched a documentary on Hulu. It was talking about LA 92. It was talking about the Rodney King beating. And then it was also, they kept on showing some clips from the 1963 riot. And I'm like, wow, 92, 63, 2002, 2020 rather, same exact thing. And it's amazing how it never been addressed. And if you don't, to your point, if you don't have a specific goal, then they'll come up with goals. We'll take down the Confederate flag. We'll take Aunt Jemima off the bottle. Like, what? Who said take Aunt Jemima off the bottle of the syrup? I don't want that.
Right. Well, they start controlling the narrative, right?
Yeah.
And, like, I'm cool. Take down the Confederate flag. That's fine. But what it is here's this stuff that pacifies us. Here's some stuff to pacify y'all, but we not going to dismantle the system of racism, because that's what we really want. We want this systematic racism completely dismantled, right? Well, taking Aunt Jemima or changing her photo or whatever they did, that ain't going to get it, right?
Right.
I don't care how many statues you take down, like, y'all still racist. You know what I mean? So we how do we get rid of this system that supports racism and white supremacy? That's what we want, so.
Man. Okay. So have you been meeting with some like young people or some community leaders? Like, what's the next steps, practical and spiritual? Because it was event, it was people was upset, blow it up, tore it up, and now we march. So now, like, what's some next steps? I know we don't have like a collective thought, because we got a lot of different people
Right.
are all over the board. But if you got a majority of people that's coming together to say, man, this is what we really want, man. This, that, and the other. Can we get that done? So what are some of the next active steps? I mean, big or small, that could be done in what direction?
Well, I think you just said like what the first one is. I think collectively, as a community, we got to come up with some kind of common agenda or common. Here's what we want, as you just said. And again, I know that there might be some things that I want because my heart beats for young people as well. So I might have some lists that are specific to my own particular bent. But I think community wise, we got to get in the room. We got to throw everything on the board, and we got to say what are the common things, right? What out of everybody that's in this room? Because as you just said, we all over the place, right? But we got to get in some rooms. You know what I'm saying? Both locally, statewide, nationally, and we got to start looking at what are some things in common that we all want. And if it's a 5-point plan, 7-point plan, 10-point plan that some things that are thematic, then we go after them, on if you want to call it national or even global scale. And then when it comes to your community, there might be some things that you need to fight for at the community level. It might be some things that you have to fight for at the state level. But I go back to the civil rights movement, man. People don't really realize how many hours was spent behind the scenes trying to figure out, okay, what do we want? What do we want? What do we want as a people? What do we want as a nation? Because again, all that stuff that we praise Martin Luther King for, that it was for black folks, but everybody else benefited from it, as well when the laws and things started changing. So I think that's number one. Somehow, some way, we got to come up with a national agenda. I think there has to be a state agenda, and there has to be a local agenda, and those three agendas shouldn't be so, different than one another. They should just have some special, unique features and nuances to it. So, and then, also, so I think that's number one. And it's hard for me to see how we move forward if we don't have that. So once we get that, then it becomes, how do our elders, what role do our elders play, right? Are they advising us? Are they giving us that wisdom? Are they giving us that counsel? Are they teaching us, especially those who may remember the civil rights movement? How can they educate, school us, and even how? And then on the flip side, like because they'll vote, right? Old folks to vote. It's young folks that won't vote, right? So, but how do we take advantage of their wisdom? And then as you move through the generations, figuring out what each generation has to offer and how we empower that. And because I'll even take it to like the whole Trump piece, right? I thought this was so dope, bro. And I'd love to hear what you thought about it. But when all these young folks was buying up tickets to his rally, and basically, man, they made that fella like unattended. You know what I'm saying? Like that was so dope to me. But so they didn't march, right? They didn't protest. They didn't go burn nothing. They said, "Tell you what, we the kings and queens of social media, so or media. So what we gonna do is we gonna go online. We gonna make sure all them tickets is gone, and then we just gonna sit back and chill."
That was true.
I don't know what you think about that. What do you think about
that? Man,
I
wouldn't. Hey, that's like I said, that was the strategy. Somebody came up and thought of that strategy or whatever. And I think about even the dynamics of the church you go to. I hate to use the word left and right, but people will know what I'm saying. You got people left and right in this area right here. And still be able to say, man, I'm for this guy, or I don't like this guy, and still walk and still go have a cup of coffee, and still praise and worship together. And that's kind of unique and kind of different because either you got a setting where it's like we all right. I hate to use that term, but people know what I'm saying. Or we all left, or majority left. And so we can just, but to have that mixed setting and still, you know what I mean? And I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of in that situation. The interesting thing is, and I'm going to try to avoid saying left and right, but the interesting thing is, man, I call them the folks that get it and the folks that don't, right? Because I don't care what side you on, and I'm not even going to pretend like I even understand all of that. but they're our white brothers and sisters that get it, and there's those that don't. You know what I'm saying? And a lot in our case, at the church I'm at, a lot of the ones that don't get it are gone because
Wow.
something happened that didn't vibe with them, or like I ain't even gonna front. Like, I'm not. I don't really bite my tongue. I'm a 50-year-old man, so I ain't scared of nobody. And I'm gonna say what I gotta say, right? And so there are times when I may have spoken against their president, and that didn't jive well with them. So they kind of gave me a little lecture, and then you ain't see him no more. You know what I'm saying? Which was cool with me, but I think what we was talking about earlier, man, like I didn't understand why we couldn't have a disagreement on the
Mm.
president and not be brothers and sisters. That still bugs me out to this day. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's an interesting dynamic because on a local level, I think that the folks where we worship together on the local level, it's cool. But then when you look at the bigger level, because we're part of a bigger church, they're still they're still trying to figure it out, so to speak. They're trying to figure out what can they do because, one year they got this black congregation that's worshiping in Gary, primarily black, but multicultural congregation, and we all feel a certain way about it. But then at the same time, they got the folks who refuse to get it because it's not that they don't get it, they refuse to get it. And they're saying, well, they're anti-police, and you ain't never heard us be anti-police,
Exactly.
anti-scumbag police.
Yes.
Same way we we anti the cat that look like us that's killing, folks in the hood. Like we don't like none of it. You
Yeah.
know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So yeah, man. So it's interesting. I'm a little wary of it because it is what it is, man. And I'm just trying to figure out what I should be doing
Yeah.
in this time
But that's interesting you said that though, because I don't know if that's a divergence or whatever when we say, hey man, crooked cops or what, don't abuse people, and then it's like you hate all blue. We standing up for blue and say we're not against blue. I got some friends that's blue, right? And then you turn around and say, start bringing out these stats, black on black crime stats, abortion stats. Where's the outrage? A black person killed another black person in Chicago, but y'all not outraged, and it's kind of, I don't know, man. It's I don't know where these stats always come out, the same stats, when we talk about, hey man, get your foot off our neck, you know.
but that's the thing. The difference is the media, because if you go to, I can name you the guys that Father Flager, you know what I'm saying, Ira
I
Act,
to meet him.
you know what I'm saying. There are a whole lot of soldiers who happen to be pastors, most of them, who every time they go down, they out there, right? There's a lot of marches that go on in the neighborhoods in Chicago against gun violence. And I'm not going to say black on black violence because the data shows you, if you go run the stats, that 81% of white folks are killed by white folks. You kill who you around, right?
Proximity.
Right. So that's bogus because of that fact in and of itself. Because in Asian communities, you know what I'm saying? Like, but the data is almost the same when you start talking about, if you want to call it same race crime. I mean, it's almost like a wash when you look at it. So that argument is bogus. But and then the other part of the argument is that's bogus is we not out there marching, we not saying nothing. There's plenty of outrage in these communities, man. The problem is nobody covers the outrage. The media don't cover the outrage. They cover the crime. They cover the fact that some African American was killed by another African American. But we not gonna cover the march. We not gonna cover Father Flager's movement. We not gonna cover Ira Ackery's movement. We not gonna cover none of these Rage Inglewood. You know what I'm saying? We not gonna cover. Yeah, I'm from Chicago, so I keep up with all that stuff. We not gonna cover that. We gonna cover the bet. Now, then you flip that and you say, if the data tells us that 81%, I think that's the last number I saw, 81% of Caucasian Americans kill Caucasians as well, and you never hear about it.
Wow.
You think Crown Point is putting in the paper who got killed in Crown Point? But let somebody slap somebody in Gary, it's all over the
right. Man, that's crazy. Yeah, that control of the narrative too, man. You know, but then when you say that, you say you're making excuses and being a victim. But so you can't win. You know, you just gotta live your life. But okay, as far as 45 and Biden, is it pretty much, that's on a global scale, on a national scale, not global. Is it pretty much when you go to vote? Is it I don't like him, so I'm voting for him? Or is it the lesser of two evils? Because now they got stuff coming out about what Biden said and what Biden did. You know what I'm saying? And what he didn't say and what he didn't do. And so now it's like, but you got Biden and you got 45. You know what I mean? So is it when you go out? Is it? I'm not saying I already know where you go with it, but is it a lesser of two evils? This dude, I know Biden can be shady, but that dude, we got to get him out. Or vice versa. They be like, man, I know 45 said and did some things, but we can't get him in because they're going to take our guns and take some. Had a list of stuff that we were supposed to take when the other guy, if the other guy get in there. And I was like, dang, he gonna do all that. But so I'm like, it's a fear thing. Like, man, we got to keep him in because he got our best interests. Because the other guy come in and everything is just done. It's a wash. They're gonna be taking down more statues than that, you know. But it's so is it a lesser of two evil, or is it just no? This dude's solid. I like him. Or is it like, man, I wish Bernie was in there, but since he's not, I'm gonna go with him. Or, I mean, that's the hot seat question. How would you
look at it like this, man? And I don't understand why. This might be me being arrogant, but I don't understand why everybody doesn't look at it like this. If you have a position at your company, interview candidates, and that's what we call these two guys, candidates, and you give the job to the person most qualified for the job. Now, if we just went on qualifications, all these politicians, every last one of them done some dirt, said something they shouldn't say.
Okay.
I mean, come on, man. Like we ain't gonna pretend like, you know what I'm saying, that we don't know that people who have those seats, and especially those who have had them forever, don't have our best interests at heart. Like, I ain't found the politician that has, and I ain't just talking about black folks, I'm just talking about people. I think they all self-serving. Every last one of them, even the one that look like us or whatever, right? Because they politicians. I'm not saying that they're not any good ones. Like, our mayor, I'm actually I think he's a pretty solid dude. You know what I'm saying? So there are folks that are on point. But when we look at this presidential race, to me, man, you ask yourself, who's the most qualified for the job? And you vote for the person that's most qualified for the job. And we know that dude in office ain't qualified for nothing, man. He's a middle school kid. It's a joke, man. Like we gotta be the laughing stock of the world, man. He's a joke. He's not intelligent. And I'm not saying nothing that you can't look and listen and see for yourself. He's not intelligent. He's had zero experience in the political realm. I'm not a big fan of politics, but at least if I'm gonna vote for somebody, I'm gonna vote for a guy that's been in government, understands how the government runs, understands what the Constitution is. Understand, you know what I'm saying? Again, I don't have no assurances that they gonna operate in my best interest, but at least, you know what I'm saying, we hired the person that's most, because that's what we doing. We hiring this guy, we voting for him, but this is our vote for who we hire, right? So hire the person that's most qualified for the job, and that's always gonna be and I guess that could take the spin off the lesser of two evils, but in this particular race, because I think that's a good conversation in other races, in other presidential races, but in this presidential race, come on, man. Like, come on.
Hey, man, when I see some of your posts, I'll be like, man, somebody that's his friend is real upset. But it's, I don't know. It's just hilarious, man. So I that's good. I'm glad you cleared that up, because I was just like, man, how do you go for it? And the way I had it, I was telling my wife the way it should be set up. It's kind of weird. I said it should be into sixths. What I mean by that is 2 Republican, 2 Democrat, 2 another, two.
I could rock with that.
A whole. So it's like, man, I'm a Democrat. I'm not feeling Biden, but I'm feeling Bernie or whoever.
Yeah.
You know, or I'm not neither one of these, but I'm feeling this independent dude over here. You know what I'm saying? Now it's up to you got to get the majority of 1/6 vote, as opposed to we pushing these two dudes. Because it started off with a whole panel of people, and they throwing dirt at each other, and you know what I mean, Elizabeth Warren, all this old stuff. Then it narrowed it down. Well, here's your two, and it's like, wow.
But then what they do, Bazell, what they do behind the scenes is, and even if you watch how it unfolded, all of a sudden, people, Biden came on the scene, people start dropping out the race, one at a time. And then folks who dropped out the race, now they throwing their support behind Biden. Sanders was the last one, right? Yeah. So I would love to hear the conversation that they had with him to get him to drop out the race or whatever, because now I'm not going to front. I don't think Sanders would have beat Trump. I think Biden got a shot, right? But the way they do this is they determine, which I don't know if I'm mad at it or not, but they get in the room and they determine, like, this is who we gonna run. I love your idea though. Even if it was one other option, you got 2 Democrats, 2 independents, 2 Republicans, because that's what I said the last election. I was like, man, y'all ain't got nobody else. You know what I mean? And make me stop and think. You know what I'm saying? Make me have to make a hard choice. Like, man, Trump is whack, but he got some good stuff. He got some great ideas. He got some real vision. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me another option. And then when they elected that dude, man, I was like, I don't know how this works.
Yeah, that was crazy.
He was a reality show dude, man.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah, that was crazy too, because you can tell he's trying to do more political things, but he ran it, like I tell my wife, and in closing, he ran it like a business where you can just fire. China, you're fired. Mexico, you fired. Wait a minute, this is global diplomacy, dude. You can't call North Korea, dude, little rocket man. Like, this is not one of your businesses. This is like, bro, they can clap back too. So so they had to pull him to the side and be like, hey man, they had to show him how to do politics real quick. Like, you can't do that, man. I like, this dude is a trip. You know what I'm saying? But his supporters, you know what I mean? The ingestion of the bleach or whatever. I'm like, man, that's scary and that's powerful. But I mean, that's common sense. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he's making it jokingly or whatever, but it was a case. A few people ingested that stuff, and it's like, man, that's too much power. You know what I mean? When the looting starts, the shooting starts. That's a trigger to somebody who ready. I mean, I don't know, man. I just like, man, you got to watch what you say. Take his whole Twitter account, because it's not time to be tweeting, man. It's just I don't know. But I don't know. That dude, I'll be amazed. Cause I watched the whole Oklahoma thing. I was just like, I'm gonna watch the whole thing, like, and then he just passed the buck and blame game. And Obama been out the office for a while, and throwing stuff on Hillary and Sleepy Joe Biden, and everybody boo. And it's like, this is WWE, bro. It's like,
that's it.
I just like, I don't know, man. You ain't gotta have. I don't know. So I don't know. It's just crazy. But that whole force thing, like, no, we're gonna go in there by force, but you're still not addressing, man, police reform or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like they taking down our statues. Well, it's like why? I mean, I don't know. It's a connection to why these different things are happening, and they always dance around the main thing. Like, this is what we want, not this. And so I can get fucked. And then people, they come in, they hijack it, and gay is the new black, and BLM and rainbow together, and it's just, I'd be like, this is a crazy thing. So one thing we got that we know, we got the Most High, and we got to continue to pray to him. And he said he got the king's heart in his hand. He could turn it any which way he please. And we got to stay focused on how he wants us to do stuff. Because anybody can spaz out in the moment, and you can just lose it, and like, man, I'm locked up because I smacked somebody upside the head. You know what I mean? Not thinking. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, I ain't finna get locked up because my kids need me, my wife need me.
Exactly.
But I ain't gonna go with that. But I gotta protect my house. You know what I mean? But
same time.
Anything else in closing, brother? It was an awesome, powerful conversation. We got to do this again and chop this up. Anything in closing?
Yeah, man. Everybody just stay encouraged, man. You know, fighting a good fight. You know, don't lose heart. You know, I know it's crazy, but you know what I'm saying? You know, life is still moving forward. You know, this is a fight going on for a long time, and man, it'll probably still be going on with me and you long gone. So just stay encouraged, man. That's what I want people to do. Stay encouraged, enjoy your family, love your life, still do the stuff you love to do. You know, find a new hobby if you have to, and just connect to something that brings you joy in the midst of all of this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Elephant Man Podcast Network, Grown Man Conversations, dealing with elephants in the room. We got my man Ken Patrick, Big Thirsty from Liquid Courage. Again, go to bigthirsty.com. We got all this information on there. All the information to get in contact with it will be at the bottom of the screen, man. Man, it was a pleasure. It's all good. We're gonna see what's up. And also with them the tomatoes, man. You know, I can help out whatever, man. Whatever you need. I'm learning too. You know what I mean? I'm learning the whole potassium and calcium. Look, YouTube University is the greatest university. I'm on quarantine. Man, why my leaves turning brown? Why they turning yellow? Why this plant die altogether? Oh, it was too cold. Oh, I'm telling you, I thought you just stick a plant in the ground, put water on it, and oh, that's too much sun. Wait a minute, partial shade. So I'm learning the whole thing, and I'm putting it all into a pack so I can show young people how to do it. You know, container gardening so they can all know how to look. Start with grow one thing, and then you know. So that's why I'm putting it into a package so just teach young people how to do it.
That's what's up, man. Keep it up.
All right, man. We gonna get up, bro.
All right, man.
All right, one. Perfect.